So now we're going to calibrate our temperature using our heat gun. And your heat gun is about 2400 watts. And this heat gun that I have is 1500 watts. So your calibration is going to be a little different than mine. The point of all this is that what we want to do is set the heat gun in our stack so we have a nice even heat coming out of the pipe. And we do that by just sticking the heat gun underneath here and putting it about in the middle of our stack, and then taking our washer and putting it on our two rods that are there inside the stack. And your heat gun, like mine, has variable heat control. And the way that I found the best that works for this heat gun is I turn it all the way up to hot, the highest temperature, and I have two blower speeds, and I use the lowest blower speed with the highest heat setting. Now yours is going to be able to produce more heat, so yours will probably be like at 3/4 of the highest heat, or maybe even less than that. You just have to play with it to get it right, and once you get it all set up, it'll stay that way, and we won't have to adjust it any further. So we're going to stick it underneath here, and then to figure out the best setting for it, we start with a piece of thin cardboard, and we set it right on top of here, and we get our temperature gauge. And where's our temperature gauge? Okay, this is very much like the temperature gauge that you have there in the shop. So what we're going to look for here when we turn this machine on is we're going to look for an even pattern of heat on the top here. And we're going to check it and measure it. And what we're looking for here is a temperature between 140 Celsius and 200 degrees Celsius. And our target for this is 160 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's in the middle of the 140 and 200. We don't really need or want it to get higher than 200 degrees Celsius. At the same time, we don't want to get it lower than 140 degrees Celsius. Now, the directions and the instructions for curing this type of ink is 2 minutes at 160 degrees Celsius. So if we go at 2.5 minutes at 140 degrees Celsius, that's okay. If we go for 2 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius, that's okay. But what we're looking for is something between 140 and 200 for about 2 minutes or so. We don't need to go to 3 minutes, I don't believe. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and I'll show you how we're going to adjust down here with the where you place the heat gun and how it hits that deflector, that washer that's sitting here that's going to spin the and deflect the heat so it's even. You'll notice as soon as you start to look at this in action that the heat comes out of the blower, the end of the heat gun, not uniformly. So it requires some adjustment, but it's pretty easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine on and show you how I do that. Okay, just let it heat up for just a minute or just a few seconds, and then I'm going to put this on here and I'm going to measure around. See, I'm already up to 170. Whoop, wait a second. There. I'm already up to 110 Celsius, 122 Celsius there, but over here in this area it is 80 degrees Celsius. So I want to move my heat gun toward the coolness, toward where the cool setting is. There, I've got that. Okay, there's 140, 142. Here's 156. Still at right about 100 over here. So I want to move it just a little bit that way, so that air hits the deflector and gives us an even 147. 120. See, it's 153 over there. Basically what you're doing is getting rid of the hot spots. Now we're 126, 120, 140, 150, 160. There you go. There we go. Nice combination. Okay, so when you get a nice even heat, it'll probably vary between 20 to 30 degrees across here, but still there's no drastic hot spots, and everything is up to at least 140 degrees Celsius. Okay, once that's set, that should be pretty good. Now when you look down on this thing afterward, you'll look at it and you go, oh, you can see how it's not in the center. And to get it to the right place is essential to this whole thing. Then, what you do is that in your box you have a timer, and it's a digital timer that plugs into your machine and then plugs into the plug-in where the machine is plugged into, and it's a digital timer that I bought, and it should be in your box, and you can set that to let's say 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And then you just press the button and it'll start this machine, and then you'll know when to, and then it'll automatically shut it off. So you don't have to worry about timing it. Now here's the printed logo, and we're just going to set this right here on the printed logo like that, and there you go. Wait for 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and you should have a good cure on each one of the logos. This is time consuming, but the thing is that you don't have to time it, because the timer is on your little digital timer, and it'll automatically shut off at exactly the right time. So that's how we'll do that. And then after the 2 minutes and 15 seconds, you'll feel as though you've done the best job here. And you can see that you have a nice cure on it, and there's no scorching, there's no damage to the material. And then when you finish it, you can look at it, you can see that it is nicely done. And when you wash it and wash it and wash it, this logo is going to stay on here, and that's what we want.